Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to explain why circumcision is genital mutilation. This is something that isn't a super big philosophical issue, but I figured it's something that's somewhat interesting to me and I should get my opinion of it out there. So I personally am circumcised. That is generally what most people are in this culture because people didn't really when they went into the doctor and the doctor was like, "Oh, do you want to be circumcised? Or do you want your kid to be circumcised?" People are like, it's no big deal. I'll just do it, and this is like societally what's expected. So they essentially were just like, "Yeah, we'll just do it." I mean, it'll make the penis look the same as his dad's, like, or like as most of the cultures, and he won't get made fun of in the locker room for it and shit like that. That's essentially the reasoning that I've largely heard for the most part. And I mean, I don't blame my parents for it. I don't blame any parents who've done it in the past, but because ultimately it's not like a super major thing that you should waste your time thinking about. However, it is very clearly an act of genital mutilation that I'm not sure if it should be banned because I don't think it's a super major deal, but I could see the case. I'll get into that later in the video. But ultimately, you are literally cutting off a piece of a child's genital against their consent. And so, I mean, it very much is an act of genital mutilation. I mean, you have similar things going on in the Middle East with like female genital mutilation, which is of infants, and we absolutely condemn that. We think that's terrible. But you do the same thing to guys here in America, and it's like, oh, whatever, it's no big deal. I mean, this is one very barbaric act that we as a culture have condoned. We've allowed, basically, and it just seems absurd to me that we have allowed such a thing for so long, and it basically comes from religious practices. So it's just some of the like antique, savage barbarism of religion, of past ancient religions that still influences us today. I mean, it's absolutely absurd that we still allow it because, I mean, you're literally cutting off a piece of a child's genitalia. That is, I mean, I don't see how there is much argument for that. I can understand it, like, if you're an adult and if you want to do it yourself, I mean, that's fine. But when you're a child, you don't really consent to that, and it's simply your parents doing it to you. It's simply your parents doing it to you for like aesthetic reasons, which are, I mean, I can get into aesthetic reasons. How about the idea that like a girl will find a circumcised penis a lot more attractive than a uncircumcised penis, or that basic idea. I don't think that most people, at least most women, I don't think that they find the penis to be a very attractive organ. I don't think that's generally the case. I think they deal with it, and I think they like it inside of them, but not like they like it as like a super attractive thing that they want to stare at, and like it's not. I don't think the penis is aesthetically appealing. I don't know. You'd have to ask some women for that. I don't plan on asking too many women that. Just random going up to the streets, like going up on the streets, being, "Hey, do you find the penis aesthetically attractive?" No, that's retarded. I would never. I actually need to cut down on my swearing. That's a problem. But yeah, we'll keep going. I mean, that's absolutely stupid. I would never do that. I think it's a waste of time. But I don't think, from my understanding, I don't think that women find a penis aesthetically attractive. So largely, I think that's a non-issue, the idea of someone finding it more attractive if it's circumcised. And a lot of the other reasons that are like, oh, it'll look like your father's. I think those are, I mean, I get it because I don't think it's a super big deal, but I think that is a very bad way of looking at things, very second-handed too, because it's very much like just a cultural expectation. So it's a fairly second-handed way of looking at this issue, and it's not very essential to make your child's penis look like your father's if the reason it looks like that is because of some barbaric practice of genital mutilation. So yeah, essentially that is why circumcision is genital mutilation. And see, I'm somewhat iffy on the idea of the government banning it because, I mean, there's obvious reasons why I think it could be banned, because if you're, I mean, you're as a child, you're not allowed to really consent to your genitals being mutilated, and it's simply your parents choosing it for you. Um, but however, I don't think that there's any like major long-term consequences of it that make your life that much worse. So, and you don't really like feel the pain or remember the pain much later. So I'm not sure that it should be banned. I don't really care, honestly. I don't think it's a super major issue, but I think at least morally it's not like a super good action to do. Uh, Although there might be some consequences of losing your foreskin. I would need to do some more research, but I've heard that there's certain negative things with it. But yeah, so the best case for banning it would probably be because it's a child, can't consent, and someone's mutilating his genitals. The best case for keeping it as it is, without it being banned, would be just the idea that it's not a super major issue and parents are allowed to make that decision for their child, and they're not going to remember it when they're older, and there's no real major consequences from my understanding. So I don't have an issue. I don't have a real strong opinion on whether or not circumcision should be banned. I mean, you can discuss that in the comments. You can come to your own conclusion based off the arguments that I've made, that I've laid out. I could see either one being used and either one being fairly strong. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.